The repeater refers to the vertical element of the railing. In order to edit the existing repeater, click on the railing whose repeaters you wish to edit. In the Properties panel on the left, click on the Repeater drop-down menu. Here, you will see another drop-down menu called Repeater 1. By default, the repeaters that appear with the railing when you create one fall under the Repeater 1 category. In order to edit these existing repeaters, click on the Repeater 1 drop-down arrow, and therein you will see a variety of properties you can change, such as model, dimensions, placement, and gaps. In order to edit the repeater dimension, go to the Dimension menu in the Repeater 1 drop-down menu. If you want to enter a custom value, go to the Width and Depth fields and select Custom for both. Then, enter the custom value of your choice into the corresponding boxes. Let us say I want to double the size, so I will add 50 in the width and depth respectively. And now you can see that the repeater size has changed accordingly. Next, in order to edit the placement of the repeaters, go to the Placement menu in the left-hand panel. To extend the repeater's top ends above the top rail, ensure that the Repeater Top drop-down menu is set to Top Rail. Then, you enter the desired value into the top offset vertical field. Let us say I will type in 600. As you can see, the repeaters have extended above and beyond the top offset by 600 mm. Conversely, if I type in the negative value of the same, it has shortened beneath the top offset value by 600 mm. Let me reset the value by typing in 0. Now, to shorten the repeater's bottom ends away from the base level, ensure that in the Repeater Base drop-down menu, the value is set to bottom. Then, enter the required extension value into the base offset vertical field. Now here, I will type in 600. And as you can see, the repeaters have shortened 600 mm away from the base level. Conversely, if I were to type in minus 600 or any other negative value of a distance that I wish to enter, you can see that it has lengthened beyond the base level by 600 mm. Let me reset it by typing in 0 once again. Now, in the lateral offset option, you can use this option to outwardly or inwardly offset the repeaters from the railing path. Now, if I were to type in a value such as 500 into the lateral offset field, repeaters have been outwardly offset by that distance. Likewise, if I were to type in a negative value, minus 300, it has been inwardly offset by that distance. Let me reset it by typing in 0. You can also change the interstitial gaps between the repeaters in a railing. Go to the Gaps menu in the left-hand panel. To change the number of self-repeats, enter the desired number into the Number of Self-Repeats field. Let's keep it at 1 for now. To change the distance between self-repeats, enter the desired distance into the gap from the previous field. Currently, it is at 300 mm from one repeat to the other. Let us type in 600. As you can see, there is no change. However, if I type in the gap from previous to be 600, you can see that the gap has increased accordingly. Let us find out why. If I were to type in the number of self-repeats to be, let us say, 2 self-repeats, and now let me change the self-repeat gap to be 300, while keeping the gap from previous to be at 600. This means that now each set has 2 self-repeats, and the distance between these 2 self-repeats is 300, and the next batch would be 600 mm away from the previous one. To change the model of these repeaters, go back up to the repeater 1 drop-down menu and click on the change model option. This will open a carousel of options that you can select from. You can even choose between the subcategories available. Let us stick to the baluster option for now and click on baluster 4. This model shall henceforth be loaded into the railing. You can also add further repeaters into the railing. For that, let us click once again the repeater 1 drop-down menu to close it and focus on the other properties. Here, in the add repeaters menu, you can see that you can add a start repeater, end repeater, and corner repeater. To add a start repeater at the beginning of the railing path, click on the start repeater option. It will open a carousel from which I can select a model of my choice. Let me select Newell 1. Now you can see a repeater has been added at the start of the path. Similarly, to add another repeater at the end of this path, click on End Repeater. Now to make it distinct from the start repeater, let me click on a different model. And you can see that a repeater has been added in near the end of the railing path, close to the start repeater. Now if you want to add a repeater at every other corner except for the place of the start and end repeater, click on the corner repeater and select a model of your choice. This time I will select from a baluster and let me select baluster number 3. And now you can see that every other corner has this kind of repeater that I've added just now. Now, as I had mentioned before, the default repeaters that appear in the railing that you create fall under the repeater 1 category. Apart from this, you can add another type of repeater that will be continued along the path of the railing. For that, click on repeater 2 in the left hand panel. And now you can select a distinct model that you can add in that will be continued along the railing path. Let me add Newell 2. And now just like repeater 1, the repeater 2 will be added along the path of the railing. And when you click on the repeater 2 drop-down menu, you will see that properties identical to repeater 1 are present so that you can change them according to how you wish for your design.